Why you remember everything but forget who you are. Full script, depth signal. You remember the exact words someone said to you in 2019. You remember the look on their face, the tone, the pause before they said it. You remember conversations that other people forgot the next day. You replay them, analyze them, file them somewhere in your head where they never quite disappear. But here's what I want you to do right now. Ask yourself this one question. Who are you? Not what you do, not what people think of you, not what you're good at. Who are you right now underneath all of that? If your mind just went quiet, if you felt something shift, if the answer didn't come easily, then this video is for you. Because there's a specific kind of person who carries the entire world in their memory and somehow loses themselves in the process. And today, we're going to talk about exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how to find your way back. Let's start with something that most people never notice about themselves. There are people who go through life storing everything, every conversation, every slight, every moment of kindness, every time someone looked at them a certain way, every argument, every apology, everything left unsaid. These people are not broken, they are not dramatic, they are not too sensitive. They are wired differently, and that wiring comes with an extraordinary ability to read people, to understand situations, to pick up on things that others completely miss. If you're watching this, there's a good chance you're one of them. And here's what nobody tells you about that kind of mind. The same depth that makes you perceptive makes you exhausting to live inside of. Because when you see everything, you also process everything. And processing everything takes up space, a lot of space. Space that could belong to you. Think about the last week. How much mental energy did you spend thinking about other people? About what they meant when they said something? About whether someone was upset with you? About a conversation you had 3 days ago that's still running on loop? Now ask yourself, how much of that time did you spend thinking about yourself? Not judging yourself, not analyzing yourself through someone else's eyes. Actually just being with yourself, knowing yourself. For most deep thinkers, the honest answer is almost none. And that's not a coincidence, that's a pattern. And it starts much earlier than most people realize. When you're a child and the world around you feels unpredictable, whether that's a parent whose mood you can't read, a social environment where you never quite knew where you stood, or just the general chaos of being more sensitive than the people around you, you learn something very quickly. You learn that paying attention to other people keeps you safe. If you can figure out what someone is feeling before they show it, you can prepare, you can adjust, you can avoid the thing that's coming. That's not overthinking, that's survival. And it works, for a while. But here's what happens over time. The habit becomes automatic. You stop choosing to analyze people, you just do it, all the time, without realizing it. You walk into a room and you're already reading everyone in it. You have a conversation and a part of your brain is running a background process, logging tone, micro-expressions, word choices, what wasn't said. And somewhere in all of that constant outward attention, your own signal gets buried. Your own wants, your own voice, your own sense of who you actually are. Not who you are to other people, not who you are in relation to them, just you.
And this is where it gets complicated. Because from the outside, you look perfectly self-aware. You're thoughtful, you reflect, you journal maybe. You can articulate your emotions with more precision than most people. But there's a difference between analyzing yourself and knowing yourself. And overthinkers are often very good at the first one and almost completely disconnected from the second. Analyzing yourself means running data. What did I do? Why did I do it? How did it look? What does it mean? Knowing yourself means something quieter. It means having a center, A place inside you that isn't constantly cross-referencing everyone else. A place where you know what you want, not what you think you should want. Where you know what you believe, not what you've decided is safe to believe. Where you feel like yourself, not like someone performing a very convincing version of yourself. And for the kind of person we're talking about today, that place often goes silent. Not because they're shallow, exactly the opposite. Because they're so deep, they fell in and lost the way back up. If this is starting to sound familiar, I want you to sit with this next part, because this is where most people either nod slowly and feel seen, or close the video because it's too close. Here are the signs that you've lost your own signal. The first one is this. You can describe everyone in your life in detail. Their fears, their patterns, their wounds, what makes them tick. But when someone asks you to describe yourself, you hesitate. Not because you're modest, because the answer genuinely feels unclear. You know yourself through contrast. I'm not like them, I'm more like this than that. But on your own, in a blank space, the picture gets fuzzy. The second sign is that your preferences feel borrowed. You're not sure which opinions are actually yours and which ones you absorbed from people you admire, relationships you've been in, or versions of yourself you were performing at the time. You change in different environments, and not just in small social ways. You become a noticeably different person depending on who you're around. And sometimes you catch yourself wondering which one is real. The third sign is that rest doesn't feel restful. When you finally have time alone, truly alone, there's a moment of quiet, and then something that feels almost like discomfort. Because alone, there's nothing to analyze, no one to read, no dynamic to navigate, just you. And you're not sure what to do with just you. The fourth sign is that your desires always come with an asterisk. You think you want something, and then immediately you're running a simulation of how other people will react to it, whether it makes sense to them, whether it fits the version of you they know. And somewhere in that simulation, the original desire quietly disappears. And the fifth sign, this one is the quiet one. You remember who you were before. Not a specific age necessarily, but there's a version of you from somewhere in the past who felt more like themselves, who wanted things more clearly, who didn't second-guess the way you do now. And sometimes you miss that person, even if you can't fully explain why. If you recognized yourself in any of those, first, you're not alone, not even close. This is one of the most common hidden struggles of people with deep perceptive minds. And second, it's not permanent. The signal isn't gone, it's just buried under a lot of noise. So let's talk about how you find it again. And I want to be honest with you here. This is not going to be a list of 5 productivity habits. This is not about journaling more or meditating for 20 minutes every morning, unless those things genuinely call to you. Finding yourself again is slower than that, and quieter than that. It starts with one small practice, noticing the moment before you check yourself against other people. You have a thought, a want, a reaction, and before you run it through the filter, before you ask yourself how it looks, what it means, whether it's appropriate, you just notice it. You let it exist for a second, without editing it. That's it. That's the beginning. Because the problem isn't that you don't have a self. The problem is that your self speaks in a very quiet voice, and you've spent years training yourself to listen to louder things. Most overthinkers describe their inner world as noisy. Constant analysis, constant replay, constant anticipation. But underneath all of that noise, there's usually a much quieter signal, a knowing. Something that doesn't argue or explain itself, it just knows. You've probably felt it, the moment where you just knew something was wrong before you could explain why. The moment where something felt right, even though it made no logical sense. That's not instinct in the animal sense. That's you, your actual self, cutting through the static. The work is learning to hear it more often, not by silencing the analysis.
That's not realistic and probably not what you want, but by creating small pockets of space where the signal can come through. Some people find it in physical movement, not as exercise, but as a way to get out of their head and back into their body. Some people find it in creative work where there's no audience and no judgment. Some people find it in very honest conversations, the kind where you say the thing you weren't going to say. Some people find it simply by spending time in environments where no one knows them, where they don't have a role to play, where they get to just exist without being anyone in particular. There's no formula. The point is to create conditions where the noise drops and the quiet signal has room to come through. And as you do that, slowly, without forcing it, something starts to solidify. Not overnight, but you start to notice it. A preference that feels genuinely yours. A boundary that comes from knowing, not from strategy. A moment where someone asks who you are and instead of going blank, something actually answers. That's the signal returning. And here's what I want to leave you with. The fact that you remember everything, that depth, that attention, that sensitivity, that's not the problem. That's actually the gift. The world needs people who pay attention, who hold things carefully, who see what others miss. The only thing that needs to shift is the direction. You spent so long tuning into everyone else's frequency. It's time to turn the dial, even just slightly, back toward your own. You haven't lost yourself. You've just been broadcasting outward for so long that you forgot you can also receive. If this video reached something in you, even if you're not sure what, leave a comment. It doesn't have to be long. Sometimes, just writing it makes the signal a little clearer. And if you know someone who remembers everything but seems somehow lost, send this to them. They'll know why. This is Depth Signal, for the ones who are tuned in.